The true reason why you feel guilty every single time you work late, it's not because you're a bad mom. It's because nobody told you that the guilt tax that we have is actually gendered. Men who work late, they're dedicated, but women who work late, they're neglecting their family. And that is not a feeling. That is what society has made us to feel and created that structure around us. So we've actually absorbed that our whole life. So stop honestly diagnosing yourself and start just recognizing that that's just the tax. Ambition says more. More is more. It's not enough. Freedom says this is good enough. And if you're trying to hold both, which I'm always doing, right? My ambition is a monster. I'm chasing the freedom. That exhaustion in the middle, that is the feeling that you feel. That's not weakness. That's just physics. Nobody ever asks you to justify a low price. You know who doesn't have to do that? Men. So stop softening your ask. That discomfort that you feel naming your number, that's the work you gotta go do. Hi CEOs, welcome back to the CEO School podcast. Okay, so today I really wanna talk about something that I think about more than I probably should. And this last week, I talked about it on camera, which I haven't done in a really long time, in a hotel room in New York City while I was having a tremendous amount of mom guilt. And at the same time, I've been reading Emma Grade's book, Start With Yourself. And so much of what she's talking about, I deeply resonate with. Some of the things I don't fully agree with yet, but I understand where she's coming from. And I do think that this conversation needs to happen for us as women. And today I'm going to talk about the guilt tax. And no, I'm not talking about the feeling of guilt and mom guilt. We've all heard enough about that. I'm going to talk about the actual cost of it. The real measurable, business affecting, relationship affecting, you affecting cost of being a woman who wants big things and also wants to be present for her kids. Yep, that's me, and I know that's you. And what happens when those two things are both true at the same time, pulling us in opposite directions? So much of Emma Grade's book right now is landing for me like deeply. Also, I've probably gotten about 67 DMs right now of everyone telling me how much it actually sounds like me. So I feel really proud of that because I do agree with so much of what she's saying. I especially resonate about this stuff about money negotiation and showing up and being seen and saying you want it out loud because, of course, we believe nothing bad happens when women make more money, and we have to put money at the center of the conversation. We have to put visibility at the center of a conversation, and you do not need to apologize for your ambition. Instead, we need to go get it and be at the front of it. But there's a conversation she doesn't quite finish in the book, and it's the one that I want to have today. So let's get into it. The guilt tax isn't just about feeling bad. I want to be really specific about this because I think that we actually throw this word guilt around and it sounds soft, like it's just an emotion to manage. It's not. The guilt tax is the mental bandwidth that you spend managing the feeling instead of doing the thing right in front of you. And that's exactly what I was doing the other day in the hotel room when I had to go speak at a conference and I was doing my makeup and I was like, oh, I'm reading the book. And yes, of course I have mom guilt. And then I was actually spending more time on feeling the guilt post the mom guilt, analyzing my own mom guilt. And we're spending the next couple hours in the aftermath of the choice, replaying it, justifying it, and arguing with yourself about it. So you don't just pay it once, you actually pay that guilt twice. You miss the moment. That's the first payment. And then you spend the next morning or the next evening, and honestly, the whole weekend, the plane ride, and even beyond that, reliving it in your head. That is the second payment. And the second one is often more expensive than the first. I feel like I have this feeling all the time, and so many examples of this, right? I do believe when Emma's talking about like putting our career first is something that we have to be unapologetic for and be okay to share. Like if you want to be successful, ambition requires hard work and doing the work and showing up for the work and proximity and so many things that she talks about, being in the office, being close, like getting out of the screen is what I say always, getting into the rooms requires for us to be there. And if we are there, we can't be two places at once, right? And so we do have to make the trade-off. We do have to make the choice. And we do our best to manage it all, right? To say, yes, there's going to be times, and this is what I share is like, I have my rules. Like I have my 2-night rule. I won't be gone for more than 48 hours. Those are the limits that I have of it. but there is that trade-off. And I think about what would happen if I stopped with actually, this book got me to think about this. Like I was just going into a frenzy with even my own emotion of, no, I disagree, Emma, on like, it's okay that I feel mom guilt. And this is, I don't want to be a 3-hour mom, and I want to be, I can't be a full-time mom, but I want to be more than that. And I did feel that I got this conversation going even about myself and my own beliefs and everything that I've shared here to say, do I need to actually flip this conversation? And that it is okay. And it is okay. And one of the things that I ended with when I gave my rant on social media this last week was like, we need to just stop telling women how to parent. Right? So whether that is we want to have guilt, whether we don't want to have guilt, whatever, like however we want to spend 3 hours, we want to spend all day, whatever that looks like, we need to stop telling women how to be successful as parents. But she's not giving advice on that. She's giving advice specifically on if you want to drive your career, if you want to drive your business. And that's exactly what we talk about here in the CEO School podcast. All I want for you guys is to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. And I want you to not play small, because that's what we've been doing. And in order for us to not play small, we have to be in the room. We have to say yes. We have to put in the work and show up to things. And there is that trade-off. And I make that trade-off every single day. And then I do have guilt around it. But the conversation today was around this, like when I've already made the choice, when I'm already gone, it's the second tax. And once I've made the decision, I need to shut that off and move on, because that's where the guilt tax, what it costs is not just the feeling, it's the function. And I'm bringing that energy into this next piece that I'm doing. So like, what would that look like if I just stopped with the post emotion of it? Now, here's where I want to bring Emma in, because I think she gets something really important right away. She's clear in the book that the hustle is real, that you have to be in the room, that you have to say out loud that you want the thing, whatever the thing is, the promotion, the deal, the seat at the table, the rate, the price. She talks about women and money in a way that made me feel genuinely seen around the same mission that I share, because we as women are conditioned to soften the ask, to justify our price, to make our ambition more palatable so it doesn't make anyone else feel uncomfortable. I find myself doing that so much. I am a very ambitious woman. I've done all the things. And yet I'm building a second company right now. And this was a conversation that when I was reading this, and I'm like, shit, she's right. I downplay that. Why do I have to downplay what I'm building right now? Not that I downplay it when I'm at work, but I downplay it to my friends. I downplay it to, even my groups within CEO School, because it's too much, because I'm trying to make them feel comfortable about my ambition. Why? I don't know. I do have capacity to handle worth. I do have capacity to handle the kids that I want to handle them. I do have capacity to build CEO School and to have a podcast. And I haven't even talked about this enough, to write my own book. But I don't talk about it because it's too much for everyone else. Because when I share just the two things that I do, it makes other people feel uncomfortable. And it makes me feel like I have to justify my own ambition. And it has been putting me like on a spin right now that we do, even I myself, that I feel so confident, so empowered, so all the things, I discount myself and my ambitions to make other people comfortable in the room. And that just doesn't make sense. And she's right. The rules are different for women, right? That is why it feels that way. And not in a victim way, in a strategic way. When a man walks in a negotiation and he asks for more, it reads confident. When a woman does the same thing, it's often read as difficult. That's the real dynamic. It doesn't mean that you don't negotiate. It means you need to know the terrain. You need to know how to play the game. Also, let's talk about visibility. Women do incredible work quietly and wait to be noticed. And the brutal reality is that quiet doesn't always get rewarded. And that's the truth. You have to advocate for yourself, and you have to take up space. You have to be willing to also say, I want this. I'm fully with her on that. And if you haven't read the book, the part on careers and money was absolutely my favorite. But here's where I want to push further, because Emma is writing from a place also of enormous success. I come here and I'm speaking from a place of also enormous success. I want to share something though. I think when I come from that place and when Emma's coming from this place, we're coming from it also from a place of success. We've gone through the things and we're sharing our experience to help you get there. But I also remember the time when I'm in the messy middle of building and you're in the messy middle of building, and it's easy for someone to say, just show up and ask for it, Sunny. Just show up and have the confidence, Sunny. Just show up and don't worry about this. I remember, yes, I think at the time there were other, whether it was Girl Boss, whether it was Lean In, other femme empowerment stances. But I remember it wasn't that easy when you're also in the middle. It's easy to give that advice. It's hard to take, but it is the truth and we need to be listening. And this is also the thing that I keep coming back to because I honestly haven't heard anyone say it plainly, so I'm going to try. And we talk about freedom often here. It's actually one of the core foundations of the Millionaire Founders Club is freedom. Freedom of dollar, freedom of time, and freedom of impact. Freedom and ambition are sold to women as a package deal, right? I say it all the time. Build your business, be your own boss, design your life, and live life on your terms. The implication is that ambition leads to freedom, that if you hustle hard enough, you'll eventually get to the version of your life where you're running things, present for your kids, and free. But ambition has its own logic, and the logic is more. Ambition means more growth, more scale, more opportunity, more visibility. It is like literally by its own nature unsatiated, right? Unsatisfied. And that's not a criticism. That's literally just what ambition stands for. It doesn't just stop and go, okay, this is good enough. This is enough now. It's ready for the next thing. And that's ambition. Freedom, on the other hand, has a completely different logic. Freedom says, this is enough. It says, slow down. It says presence over performance. It says the point is actually to live the life and not just build it. And I have been chasing freedom, and I do believe that I have built and designed my life of freedom, and that's why I can say I do feel like I have it all, just what all looks like to me. But these two things, freedom and ambition, pull in opposite directions. And when you're a CEO trying to hold both, trying to build something ambitious while also protecting the freedom that made you start this in the first place, you will feel that pull every single day. And I will tell you, this is what it has been like striking the most for me, because I truly, in all honesty, am still chasing the freedom. And I have designed my life in a way that has all of these rules and all of these things so that I can achieve freedom in a way that feels palatable, or I feel like I can be the wife, can be the daughter, can be the mom, can be all the things. But at the same time, my ambition is a monster. Like, it is a monster. And even today, even after I've achieved unicorn, I've achieved everything that I feel like I could want, I still feel that level of ambition and that monster every single day. And so I just wanted to be honest with you. And I think that Emma has a really strong perspective on this in terms of, yes, go for it and go get it. I have that same perspective for you about it. And I also feel it just like you. So I wanted to make sure that you heard that here today, that it's striking up a chord for me. And I do think freedom and ambition can somewhat coexist, right? It's not going to be, it's not a perfect balance, right? That's the whole myth. But we do have to be honest about where you feel the most pull. What does the ambition version of your life look like versus where is the free version of your life look like? And where does it clash? And guess what I figured out? This is where I was spiraling. The guilt lives exactly in that gap. It's between what ambition is asking of you and what freedom is asking of you. And it's not a character flaw in you or in me. It's not a sign that you're doing it wrong. It's a structural tension that does not, I wish I could give you one, but it doesn't. It doesn't have a clean resolution. And that's what we have to accept today. Here's the other thing that I was thinking about that I want to say clearly. The guilt tax is higher for women, not because we're weaker or more emotional. And mind you, again, I'm not saying mom tax. I'm talking about the guilt tax. The guilt tax is where ambition and freedom are right here. We're fighting. The guilt tax is higher for women, not because we're weaker or because we're more emotional or whatever else labels everyone wants to put on us, but because the cultural penalty for female ambition is higher. A man who works late, he's dedicated. A woman who works late is neglecting her family. A man who travels for work is building something. A woman who travels for work has her priorities wrong. These are not feelings. These are structures. They exist in how we're perceived, right? Perception. And that's the mental fight that we always have. How we're perceived by colleagues, partners, parents at school, by ourselves. We're human. We have this mental load because we have actually absorbed these messages our whole lives. And we believe it too. If you want the thing, if you have the ambition, you need to be in the room and you have to be seen and you do have to say you want it. So Emma's right there. But here's also the truth. She's describing this act of courage to say, yes, I want it, that is not actually equally required for men. Showing up loudly as an ambitious woman still costs us something, and there is that cost. And part of what it costs every single day for me is guilt. Guilt for wanting it, for going after it, for not shrinking. That's the tax, and that is gendered. So in all honesty, we can sit here and do every piece of inner work, right? I think that I haven't fully finished the book, and I think we're going to talk about journaling and our values and all the things, even the things that I share here. We can do all the work. I've been doing it. I am your example. I've been doing it for years, and still will walk into a world where the game has different rules for you and for me. Self-work will not fix a broken structure, but it does change how we move through one, right? And so moving through it with clarity, with intention, with a real understanding of even who I am and what I want, and to give myself that confidence to say, I can have that and I want to. The want is the word that I did not use. That's what actually gives you the fighting chance of actually getting it. And I think I've been honest about where I'm at, right? So I'm trying to do both, right? I'm not going to be on the camp where it's one or the other and just say they're trade-offs. Yes, I'm in the middle. I'm trying to achieve the freedom while chasing my ambition, being present while building something. And it truly is costing me my sanity. That's what it's costing me. It's costing me this. That's the middle gap. And I honestly don't have a neat framework, right, that I can share with you to solve it. But I'm standing here to say today that I want to say that out loud and that I am going to look at it from a different lens today. So if you're listening to this and feeling this exact pull that I'm talking about, I think that that's what was missing in this book, right? We talked about the two things, but that gap, that exhausting tension in between is something that I feel I've got to talk more about right now. And if you're feeling this right now, you're feeling this conflict, if you want to have it all and you're feeling that tension, please let me know, because let's continue to have this conversation. I want you to share this episode with your girlfriends. I want you to share this with another woman in business. I want you to tell me, I want you to DM me right now on social and say, let's continue this conversation, because I don't think we've talked about that in between. So my favorite part about the book that I felt is exactly what I've been saying for so long is this is the game. We're not changing. We're not trying to shrink. We're not trying to do all the things. We know what we have to do. We know we have to show up. And I love all of that. But this is what the world looks like. Eyes wide open, now go in. That to me is what I feel like I've always known. Maybe it was because of my background, my upbringing, being an immigrant kid. Like I feel like I had my eyes wide open knowing it wasn't the same for me. And so I do think that that is something that is really important to talk about in business, and to ensure that we are also, yes, less than 3% of venture capital goes to female founders. And yet we're not even hitting $1 million in revenue. 88% of our businesses are actually still at six figures. So yes, the rules and society and all the things are stacked against us. Structures are stacked against us. It's not fair, but fair is not what's going to help you win, right? Getting to the $1 million is. Becoming that statistic is, and not playing the victim. And I do think that she does share that really like the truth here in that. And I fully agree with that. And that is exactly even why I started the show in 2020 was around that topic. I've never heard men talk about a 6-figure business or 100K months. Men don't talk like that. And so these aren't the rules of business. And so the answer is to go in with your eyes wide open, know the rules, know yourself, know what you're willing to pay and what you're not. So here's what I want you to take away from today's episode and just what I'm feeling fired up about. And it's not a solution, but I'm going to commit to practicing it. We're going to stop paying the guilt tax twice, okay? You're going to make choices that are going to cost you something. That's not avoidable. You will miss things. You will prioritize work when you feel like you should be at home, and you will be at home when a part of you feels like you should be working. That tension will not go away. But the second payment, the hours of that aftermath, the replaying, the self-prosecution, that's optional. And that one is expensive. So make the choice. Feel what you feel, and then come back to the present moment and actually be in it. Not because guilt is wrong. And that's what I was crying on social media the other week about. I do feel it. But because paying it twice is the tax that you can't stop authorizing. And that's not the same as having it figured out, right? It's just refusing to pay more than you already owe. If this episode landed for you, please share it with a woman that you know who's in the middle of this, not someone who needs advice, someone who just needs to hear that it's hard and she's not doing it wrong. And I want to leave you with one question to sit with this week. Don't answer it, just carry the question. Where in your life are you paying the guilt tax twice? Once for the choice and once for making it. That's it. That's the question. I'll see you next week on the CEO School podcast. Bye, everyone.